What's going on YouTube? Florida Man Knives here with a quick comparison video between the Spyderco Delica 4 and the Spyderco Native 5 Lightweight. Now, both of these knives are definitely fantastic overall. I'm a big advocate of both of them for sure, and they're both very similar. Now, the price points are definitely going to be a little bit different as far as the base models. You are talking $84 on the Delica 4 with VG10 steel, and you're going to be talking $108.50 on the Native 5 Lightweight, and the base model does come with CPM S30V. Now, of course, both of these are exclusive models with teal FRN, but I am going to be referring to the base models for the purposes of this video. Now, again, both of these very similar designs. You do have a lockback design on both of them. You do have the indent on the Delica, if that makes a difference to you, but the overall length on both of these is pretty much exactly the same. Let's go ahead and compare that. I mean, you are talking pretty much the exact same length. I think the Delica is just ever so slightly longer, and the cutting edge on the Delica is going to be just ever so slightly longer as well, but not enough to make a difference as far as actual performance. With the Native 5, you are going to have a slightly thicker blade stock, and you are also going to be definitely thicker in the pocket because the handle, as you can see, is a fair amount thicker than the Delica 4, and that is something that definitely plays a factor. So I will say, as far as comfortability in the pocket, the Delica 4, in my opinion, is far superior, but comfortability in the hand, I definitely will say the Native 5 is a little bit better, and that's going to be because it fills out your hand a little bit more with the thickness, but also it does have, of course, this 4-finger choil. Now, I'm a big fan of that. I do have extra large hands, and the Delica 4, I will say, the ergonomics of it are not the best for myself. You can see that, point sticking out right there kind of ends up hitting the middle of my index finger, or middle of my middle finger, excuse me. Just, that is me personally, of course, but that is one point where I would say the Native 5 is a little bit better. Now, one thing with the ergonomics, though, I did want to point out, you do not have the thumb ramp right here, as you do with the Delica and a lot of other Spyderco models. The Native 5 is definitely a different feeling knife in hand compared to what I would, expect from a typical Spyderco. So, I just really did want to point that out, but it is still very comfortable. Now, me personally, with my hand size, while I do like the jimping, I wish they had extended it further up onto the blade because my thumb ends up resting up here, and as I go to use it, I find my thumb actually slides down the blade of the knife. But again, that is just me personally with the size of my hands. Now, the Delica 4 is, of course, going to be made in Seiki City, Japan, and that definitely, I may or may not attribute to the lower price. I'm not sure. Obviously, the biggest factor is going to be the steel being VG10, and the Native 5 is going to be made in Golden, Colorado, USA. So if that plays a, big factor for you, obviously the Native 5 would be the one to go with there, but the Delica is just an all-time classic for sure, and I'm a huge fan of it. And although I am referencing the base models, I did want to point out that you can get the Spyderco Delica in different steels, different exclusives. Specifically, for example, DLT Trading offers theirs in 20 CV, and you can get those for around 105, 115, depending on if they're coated or not. And, steels ranging from CPM 20 CV to, S30V, of course, but I did want to point that out because if you are worried about the quality of the steel, you can definitely step up with the Delica and actually be at the same price point as the base model Native 5. Now, another point I wanted to make is the pocket clip. I think, the pocket clip placement is pretty similar. I'm going to give the edge to the Delica. I don't mind it as much as I did the Native 5, but of course both of these have been replaced with deep carry MXG gear pocket clips, and that is just because I personally prefer deep carry pocket clips myself. And overall, while they are both fantastic knives, they both have full flat grinds, as you can see. You can get a hollow grind on the Delica, I know, but different variants for sure. They do offer a salt variant of the Native 5, which I am definitely a big advocate of, featuring LC200 and steel. But if you're just talking the base models, I think the Delica is the better buy. You know, you are saving the money on the price point. You know, not made in the USA, I understand that, but because for me personally, it's superior in the pocket, it's just a little bit more comfortable overall, I think. I personally prefer the Delica. And the biggest reason for that is going to be the thickness and the weight. Now, the standard Delica that has liners is going to be pretty much the exact same weight as the Native 5, which you can see is 2.33 ounces. However, I do have the Delica 4 lightweight, which is, you know, just a slight bit lighter, 2.26 ounces. So not too much of a difference. I don't know if you're really going to notice that in the pocket or not, but it feels lighter and smaller in the pocket for sure. You know, I don't really know why that is. It's the Native 5 is, you know, a very slim knife, as you can tell, but just me personally, I think it's just because of the thickness, I don't notice this as much, and I generally have come to prefer the Delica over the Native 5, and I think it's also due to the lack of the thumb ramp right here. Again, just my personal opinions here. As you can see, they are very, very similar overall, and the Native 5 lightweight is a very small knife for sure. A little bit smaller in the pocket up and down, but a little bit thicker, and you can see up and down wise this way, they are pretty much identical. So just a quick comparison video, as I stated. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below on which one you prefer. And as always, I really appreciate everybody watching.